Alright, once again, just gonna double check which is on which team. TLO and Lambo are gonna be blue. So that lines up pretty perfectly. They also lead the Series 1-0, but I'm not introducing them. In the bottom right, they've race swapped. What? It's gonna be the red Archon, now Protoss, WhiteRa, and Dimaga.
On the top left, as the blue Archon, it's TLO and Lambo.
So it's worth noting the rules of the tournament do allow folks to swap between games and during series. This is something we've seen before between Zergs and Terran. I don't think we've seen anyone swap to Protoss just yet, but I kind of feel like with WhiteRa's abrupt leaving of game number 1, it's like, alright, fuck this, my turn to drive, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. Like now he's probably the macroer and Dimaga is probably the microer, but ZvP and Legacy of the Void is really difficult for the Protoss player. They didn't really get any buffs that helped them.
We say that, but let's not forget it was actually Crank and Alicia, the Archon team Protoss, that actually won the Red Bull Battlegrounds qualifiers. So, not to say it's impossible to play as Protoss, but you're right. Like every other race has received these rather massive buffs, whereas Protoss were kind of like, here's a couple new units. I'm not sure if they're good. Have fun.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. So I don't know what Crank and Alicia's path to glory looked like. It was a bunch of other Protosses, which have been really weird. We don't see any PvP.
I feel like there's actually not
a single PvP in the last like 2 months.
There's like not enough physical players who play Protoss to fill up a PvP like bracket like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or if they just had a lot of PvTs, but yeah, PvZ, regardless, is just difficult, and that's why Crank and Alicia winning that tournament was so amazing. Just being Protoss in general is quite difficult. Notoriously, like, basically what you do as Zerg to really guarantee a win is you go into your roaches like usual, defend it against any all-ins, of course, be sure to scout, and then you go into Lurkers. And Lurkers are good in ZvZ, and they're really good in ZvP as well. You can just kind of wait out the Protoss player, because they'll take a few good engagements initially, like they'll have some good disruptor shots, hopefully, or something like that, but then they'll start mining out of their bases. And that's when things get really, really tricky. And honestly, it's kind of up in the air as whether or not Colossus are good. They're probably necessary because they provide constant damage, but are they good? Are they actually going to help you? That's still up in the air.
Yeah, I really feel like from the few times we've seen them in play, having 1 or 2 Colossus in your army is great, but you don't really stack them like you do in Heart of the Swarm. They're not your core composition, where you just put fluff around them. That's where things like the Disruptors and stuff start changing up quite a bit. But Adepts and more Adepts are quite good in all stages of the match, we found. Even somehow, I don't know why, but somehow they can carry themselves into the late game pretty decently. But one Adept and one Zealot can certainly kill these Lings, no problem. I wonder if the bug has been fixed yet with the Adepts.
I didn't see any mention of it.
We're going to find out in a sec. It's unlikely. For those who don't know, you're probably about to see the resources lost jump. Yeah, okay, so it's still there. This is going to be kind of annoying for the game because you can no longer really rely on the resources lost to gauge how good versus bad the battles are going if there's a lot of Adepts. Because for some reason, the Shade, or this, Psionic Transfer, when it dies, it counts as the Adept dying. So resources lost stack up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now, enough Lings, especially with speed, still take care of Adepts, even though they're pretty good against them, so... This was no big problem for Blue Archon, and Red Archon's gonna go ahead and follow up with a Stargate. So if the Adept and the Zealot had any chance of poking a couple of Queens, this is an awesome follow-up, but as it is now, it's like it's gonna, I don't know, kill a couple of drones, sure, and get the Revelation off, maybe. Because Revelation was paired up with Envision, so it's a little bit
It's both better and worse. It just really depends on the situation.
Yeah.
It's got a cool control, by the way, out of Blue Archon when they are fighting the Zealot over there, too. Just a quick comment on that.
Looks like Zerg did scout the Stargate, or they have a feeling that it's a Stargate.
Yeah, the Spore Crawlers are coming down. It's a little bit sad, because they changed it before we really got to see use of it. Pardon me. But I really wanted to see more of the Stasis Ward come into effect when it came to Protoss in general, but now that it's an autocast ability that you can't force off, a lot of people have been kind of turned off by the idea of using it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could have done, though, because it was kind of too obnoxious before, but now it's useless now, so...
I just think there's such a limited sample size. Like, they changed
that
it
is
too
true.
quick type thing.
Like, why would they ever? I don't see the reason to nerf anything for Protoss
Jesus.
right now, to be honest.
That build cancel was so quick.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, like to nerf anything for Protoss, I don't know why they would ever think that's a good idea when no one's playing Protoss. Like, let them be overpowered at some point, keep buffing them, and that'd be really cool. Oh, they really gonna try and go for carriers? People do not go for carriers enough, and they're really good.
Oh, damn it, these links are gonna get through and see it though, so that's gonna be really bad. I was actually gonna bring up WhiteRa. I don't know if you remember, I think we were casting. Maybe this was before we started casting. But there's a dream hack, WhiteRa versus Madalisk, where he went like mass carriers on 2 bases and actually gave her a bit of trouble with that. So WhiteRa has been a guy who's had carriers in his build for a long time. Now this might not be carriers. Tempest have got this really cool weird new ability, but I really hope it is, because carriers are like really good at harass right now. Their build time was reduced significantly in Legacy of the Void. The new ability they have to dump their interceptors is fantastic, and it is going to be a carrier. So WhiteRa with some hype, if nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know about the Heart of Storm you're talking about. That sounds kind of a troll build, but certainly Legacy of the Void, they're a lot better. It's no longer a troll build. I mean, it might be a risky build, but if you can get up to a certain number of carriers, then it's effective.
In the early iterations of Legacy of the Void, when Cyclones were broken as hell, and then nobody knew what to do with them, Zombie Grub and I actually found out carriers worked pretty damn well if you went for them quick enough. We actually won a couple of games too against some pro players. So it's one of those things where, okay, maybe we're a little biased because we do love our carriers, but they are, objectively speaking, a lot better than they used to be. And there's a lot of really cool potential for them. For example, if you dump the interceptors, you can actually rebuild 8 new interceptors before those ones wear off. So you can potentially double the interceptors each carrier has.
I also think that it's just a better response to what is plaguing Protoss right now, which is like the Lurkers, the Roach Hydra attack and the Lurkers. Like, if you can survive the Roach Hydra attack, then Lurkers won't be the way to go against carriers anymore, and that's really what usually solidifies the Zerg's winning position. Now, Hydras and Queens are still scary.
Oh, that was sick.
There's one carrier out right now, you know? So, like, what is he really going to do against this?
He was really hoping that they were really hoping they were going to attack the third. They stacked up cannons there specifically for this Hydra attack. Oracle's going to help out a little bit. Kind of hard to really get in there. Put on overcharge. So close to being ready. Don't lose the Mothership Core just yet. Oh, not that that's going to save them at this point. It's a little, perhaps, too far gone. The contaminate on the contaminate on the Stargate delaying that second carrier was a huge deal. I do feel like this attack was a little too much for them to deal with, and unfortunately, GG is going to be called. Congratulations, Blue Archon.
You still got to open up with Disruptors, or even just Blink Stalkers still are good.